do the podcast?
I'm ready to go. I'm recording everywhere.
Okay.
I'm recording here. I'm recording there. I'm recording everywhere.
He's doing a cipher.
I eat football cards for breakfast. Oh, God, I'm just doing the stuff I'm looking at.
What a whimper of a way to start an episode.
I fill the seats with asses, and I don't wear glasses. I don't put them on the top of my head or on my eyes when I'm in bed. I got two of them,
Eyes?
and they both have vision.
I got
2020. You think you're funny? I'll come and take all of your money. I don't care. You've got bad-looking pubic hair, and I think it's stupid.
My eyes work as well, too. And they can see everything from here to you.
This is bad. This is bad.
Trying to do
Are
one.
we proving we're white?
I'm trying.
This movie is called 1 Mile.
In case anyone is
It's
challenged.
8 kilometers. Oh no, that's the Canadian version. Sorry, where the rap battles are just
polite,
compliments.
just super, yeah.
Yeah, Mum's spaghetti.
Your mom's spaghetti was delicious, eh?
Hey, your mom's spaghetti was great.
I was hoping
very
we were
good.
going to go further about rapping about our eyes, and I wanted you to do one.
No, I wasn't going to do one
Yeah.
under any circumstances.
Sorry, I was just tickled by 8 kilometers.
Yeah.
My eyes are beady, but it doesn't mean I'm needy. But I am needy, but that's not the reason why.
Listen, I'm going through a real struggle as a lower class citizen here.
Yeah.
I don't make a lot of money. I'm
Yeah.
in the lower class, but because Canada's got such a fine social safety net, I know I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
8 kilometers.
Yes.
Want to open the show?
You boys notice something before we get started?
You look handsome today.
Yeah, you told me you were going to stop at the print shop
Today?
on the way here to pick up something.
No. I was sent a mug.
Uh-huh.
Can't quite remember the company. What is it? Let me turn this around. Oh, it's Cooper's Cast Coffee.
Wow.
They sent your boy some more beans.
Oh.
And this lovely mug. And they're a Rhode Island company, and you can tell because it says RI on this side, and they've got
The anchor.
the anchor,
Anchor
which
and
is
hope.
the real
Anchor and
symbol
hope.
of Rhode Island.
Yeah, Chuck
which is weird.
Chuck
'cause
calls
it's like,
me.
that's not great.
Chuck calls me
No.
the anchor, and then he adds ... around my neck. Yeah.
Hold on. What do you, I think an anchor is positive. No?
You think an anchor is positive?
Yeah, it's for safety.
It keeps you grounded.
I mean, I guess it is weird to call it saying it keeps you grounded.
Well, like, you come up with a lot of shit. And
No, I mean
someone's
just
gotta rein
in
you
a
in.
phrase.
Oh.
Let's not snipe at each other.
No,
I'm saying-
I never would.
You never. And I do think it's interesting, like the idea of an
Yes.
anchor being a positive, where, yeah, it's good for like keeping you moored, right?
MOORED.
Like it keeps you from being adrift, but it also keeps you from going anywhere. It's
Anchor.
a big, heavy, luggy thing.
What is the anchor? What is the... I mean, what is the...
This is an anchor.
I know, but what is the... I'm trying to think of what is the positive thing. Like, is it like
You're real heavy and won't let me leave.
an anchor?
if there are stormy seas, though, you want an anchor, so you're not thrown hither
sure.
and thither.
When you're going through hard times, I'm Brad's anchor. If Brad's going through hard times, he can call me and it'll be like, I'm adrift.
I think you're the storm.
I think...
storm, anchor, and boat.
Yeah, but I think an anchor. Yes, you could look at it like if there's a storm, this will keep me from
Getting washed away.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, maybe you could just avoid the storm, go around it, leave. Right?
Yeah.
When they
No,
have
you
the
can't
warnings.
always avoid a storm.
Well, when the hurricanes are coming,
Right.
do you want to be one of the people on the news going, "I'm not leaving. I've been here for 72 years." Whoa!
Well, I've got an anchor, Ray.
Well,
Those
first-
people didn't have anchors.
Hold on. If we're using...
Some guy tying his ankle to an anchor. I'm fine.
if the metaphor... Well, if the metaphor is that you have an anchor,
Yeah.
I think that it's implying that you are a sailor. Not that you're implying you're just a person, because a person in their house
Yeah.
doesn't have an anchor. So I think that sailors cannot avoid storms all the time. I think that
Right.
as they go through life and their jobs, they have to encounter storms. And so the anchor helps them.
I think it's interesting though, like if you lock it in of just sailors,
Yes.
then I think the ability to use the phrase of an anchor in this way, the analogy of an anchor, becomes very limiting.
I think the anchor is super important to Rhode Island because of, they had to keep all the slaves they were bringing into the
That's
state
what I'm saying.
safe.
This is what I'm saying, you know?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And on that note,
Yep.
hello. Go ahead, you do it.
Welcome to another episode of Funbearable.
We have a general rule. Whoever brings up slavery gets to open the show.
It's been me most of the time. My name is Brad Rohr.
I'm Ray Harrington.
And I'm Chuck Staten. I'm looking up the anchor symbolism. Do you want to hear about it?
I think we just went through it.
Well, you made it up.
I made it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's actual things.
You're on chuckstatenresearch.com.
It's all nudes. It's all nudes.
I mean, I would say this. I will say for Rhode Island, the truth is part of it is the fact that it was such a water-based, like a trading port. There was a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of ships coming in and out.
Right.
So there's that real thing.
It was a real ship slut.
Yeah.
There's so many ships.
It was a
coming
real
in and out.
it was a real ship show.
Okay.
It was a real Sheila port.
Yes.
Now, this is from Alex and Ani, which is a company here that's based in Rhode Island that's like very popular that made like a lot of
Makes
charms.
jewelry.
Jewelry, yeah.
Right. So they're going to know the history of
Yes.
the anchor,
Yes. Well, it's not the history of the anchor. We just need to know what it symbolizes.
which is why when I want to know about what Pandora's box is, I go to a Pandora store.
No, that's stupid. It says
You're so combative today. It's ridiculous. I'm feeling great. I got my Cooper's Cast coffee. I'm fucking.
Where can
so
someone
great.
get Cooper's Cast coffee?
You can get it on Amazon. It's one of the top selling Amazon coffees, and you can order it from them. I would recommend ordering direct.
Yeah, of course.
Listen, they give me no money.
Right.
They give me da beans.
Da beans.
I make a da beans into a. Wait, why am I turning it? I make it a beans into the juice. But no, thank you, Cooper's Cast Coffee. Really appreciate it. And it is my favorite coffee. And we've had some listeners start talking about it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be a bit of a schmuck.
Yeah.
And just really shoehorn in the cup of coffee.
that's not a schmuck. You're liking your thing. That's good.
Hell yeah.
And also, number one, not being combative. Number two, it's combative, not combative. Anyway, so
I want to hear what this jewelry
Number
company
two
has to say.
disproved number one. All right. So what did the jewelry company say about the etymology of anchoring?
they said that sailors believe anchors serve as a refuge from storms, which is what we're talking about, and they're symbolic of hope for calm seas. So I guess that makes sense in terms of like,
Which you would think a sail would be more of the representation of that.
well, it's weird because the sail propels.
Yeah.
But like if I think if Brad is the sailor and the metaphor is that no matter what,
Swabbing a deck.
in his path, he's going to go through calm seas. I mean, he's going to go through stormy seas. You still need the anchor to get through those harder
Sure.
times.
I just think it's weird to look at it as like a motivational thing when the thing itself
Is to keep you still.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
So, but this was
It's like a rock. Well, when someone says, that's my rock, I think that's the same thing, right?
unless they're pointing to Dwayne Johnson.
Right, yeah.
And they go, that's my rock.
Yes.
You know?
I rock.
And then you're like, oh, the other actor from Young Rock. You're like, well, that's my rock, and it's like, it's.
Yeah.
Wow, young rock.
I had a friend once call me a social anchor because I was a safe person to talk to in all these different situations.
But
There
I could
you
also
go.
see that
I'll
as an
say-
insult.
I'll say
if somebody went,
initially-
you're a real social anchor, I'd be like, well, fuck yourself then.
yeah, initially
Wow.
I took it as an insult. It had to be explained to me.
Yeah.
And now I'm down with it. Now I'm like,
Wow.
oh, what a nice compliment.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Social anchor.
We did it.
People
Yes.
call me a social Batman.
No, you call you a social Batman.
You're my
What,
social
what
Alfred.
is a social Batman?
I'll stand up for what's right
Socially?
in social settings.
Okay.
Like when you were saying all those mean things about Brad, and I stood up for him.
Oh, because okay, now it makes sense. It's like an insane person who thinks they're Batman.
He puts
Now it makes sense.
he has a cowl.
Well, thanks for tuning in this week. We really appreciate it. Let's hit those socials and we'll head on home.
Hey, I noticed you texted and said you were going to be here at 7.
That's exactly what I'll do. By the way, Ray is not privy to one of the Funbearable running jokes, which is that whenever we're supposed to be here, at the Comedy Connection in East Providence, Rhode Island, where we're recording, we'll be there at 1:45, and at 1:45, if I'm late, I'll text Brad and I'll be like, I'm here. And I'll pull in at like 1:47, and like we'll have this record that technically is like he said he was here at 1:45. He's like pointing at me. He's like, I know you're late. Almost like we're answering to some person that doesn't exist that sees the text.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
But you're the social Batman?
I'm the social Batman. Yeah.
You're doing all these dumb little terrorisms, right?
Batman breaks a rule or two. We got to admit that.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think socially you'd be more of like a social Riddler.
I do like riddles.
I like a riddle.
In social settings, I do provide
What if
riddles.
the Riddler didn't do riddles? He just liked riddles. And he wanted other people to do the riddles. And he's like, no, I'm really smart. I can solve it.
I could solve it, guys, but I want you to have the fun of solving it.
I think we're spinning our wheels a little bit here.
Yeah.
Maybe perhaps because we're attached to an anchor, right?
Yeah.
So we can't move forward.
Right.
We need
Yeah,
This is a bad
ships
anchor.
famous for spinning their wheels.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you think boats work?
I don't know. Magic?
I mean, there is a wheel.
Yeah.
And if it's spinning, you're in
Sometimes.
trouble.
Yes.
Oh,
You want a deft hand on the
I
wheel.
thought you meant the
Yeah.
wheel that goes like this in the back.
like a paddle boat.
The one that goes round and round?
Yeah. That's a paddle boat.
That is a paddle boat.
Yeah.
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 That's fun.
Yeah. What are we doing? What's happening?
I thought you were segging us into something.
I was segging so hard.
Okay.
I was so segging.
Yeah.
And then I got distracted. But we've been having a little bit of a goof here. There is an important thing happening. And it's not an ego thing for me to say this. It's just so it was my birthday this weekend, right? And now we're coming together. And my birthday was on Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Right, of course.
Because when I was born, I said, you know what? I want to be connected to this even more.
Once every couple of years.
Yeah, well, it's always around that weekend.
Right.
So it feels good to me to remember that.
Yeah.
But I just turned a number, and the number I don't like, and it hurts.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. When I was driving here, I was thinking about it because I didn't want to bring up my birthday on the podcast because I'm just like, I feel weird about it. You know what I mean? And I know, Chuck, you already bought like streamers and like little poppers to pop off for your birthday.
Well, I sat on the streamers. I mean, and
no.
the thing, yeah. That's how you knew. I sat on all my birthday stuff, and it all went off at the same time.
And then you hear like a tiny. That's the card. Sorry. You open the card and it's a recording of you going, "Happy birthday, Chuck! You're the best." But no, I just turned 40.
Yeah.
And I feel uncomfortable saying it.
Yeah.
I think also being in the stand-up comedy
presence of
world, like that
Right.
industry, where it's just like there is a part of me going, don't tell anybody, shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Just be 32. Tell people you look like shit for 32,
Right.
but you're 32, right?
Yeah.
So I just turned 40.
Yeah.
I have feelings about it. Brad, you are already in that.
I turned 40 like 40 years ago
Yeah.
yeah.
on a night just like this.
Was that thunder?
Get the anchor.
We're gonna be fine. I tied it to the side of the house. We're fine.
Flood water just rises up. You're like, well, the house isn't going anywhere.
Oh, I misjudged.
Yes.
Because now the anchor's not. It's hurting. It's not helping.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, and then you are not in that world.
Not
yet.
even close. Yeah.
You're close.
I'm not even.
You're close.
I'll say emotionally, not close.
No.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
so
no,
much.
no. Developmentally,
Yeah.
Oh, I have a lot of.
absolutely not.
People say I have a lot of youthful exuberance.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's cool to be the young buck in most
Right.
situations.
And your child therapist says that, right?
yeah.
When you draw those pictures.
Yeah. But it is, I mean, someone, when we talked about this podcast and we said like, okay, well, we got the young buck and like, then we kind of figured out your guys' roles.
And he couldn't make it, so we have that chair empty now. Yeah. I mean, you got to face it, man. You're.
I'm not. Whatever you're going to say.
So maybe this conversation won't work because somebody is in denial.
Right.
Well, here's what they say about aging backwards. No, I'm getting up there, but I'm not, not anywhere near that.
How old
precipice. Are you? I'm about 38.
Okay.
So I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Just turned 38, fresh 38.
Yeah.
What do you say? How long is just to you?
I don't think it's 5 months.
I think it's less than 6 as you just turned 38.
Okay.
Right?
I guess you're closer to 38 than
then I'll
39.
be 36 and a half. Then I'll be
36 and a half?
38 and a half.
All right.
I was questioning the math.
My inseam. But no,
I'm not really facing the oh my god, I'm going to be 40 stuff.
No, of course.
I don't really feel like
I
that.
started
creeps up on
facing
you.
the oh my god, I'm going to be 40 when I turned 31.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been happy with my age.
But that's because
ever.
you
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Brad joined AARP when he was 22.
Well, that's the thing is it seems like you'd be happy to be 90.
I thought it was damn it. Nope, I got nothing. It was going to be really cool people was the R and the P. And it didn't work.
Well, but I'm surprised to hear that because it feels like you're always you could be comfortable being older all the time. Like
I haven't hit the age where I'm comfortable yet.
See, it's interesting. Like how you were just throwing those delightful jabs at me about wanting to stay young, and my like. Rah, rah, rah. It seems like you're in the opposite direction, where you're just like, I just want to read a book and drink some tea and go to sleep. I don't care about being 85.
Yeah, I wish my life were different. That it's just me and the cat, and I thought by now my life would look different. And the idea of it feels too set in a rut to change, to make the changes that I have wanted to make since I was in my mid-20s.
Do you actually feel like when you were like 20, you were like, I'm getting old, or do you feel like?
No, I think that was when I turned 30, and then. Again, when I turned 36, because I was going to church and like everyone around me was in their mid-20s and having their quarter-life crises, and I'm like, you guys will be fine. You're all attractive people, and they're all fine.
Brad was drunk at that one.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
You guys will be
You guys
fine.
be fine. Where's my anchor?
You guys still use mixers?
And I thought turning 40 would be like a big fun celebration, and it was a fun celebration, but it wasn't a big celebration. Like nobody cared.
I cared
because all my friends from home had already turned 40, and I'm separated from the people that have known me for the longest.
Yeah.
So, big deal. I'm old, I'm going to be old, and then I won't be.
Yeah, it is very strange because like the people around me, my friend group in stand-up, everybody's turning 40 like right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like one of my closest friends had turned 40 a couple of months ago. Another one of my closest friends, Derek Furtado, turned 40 a week before I did.
Right.
Yeah. And then
he's not as close to Martin Luther King as you.
No. And then Corey, our buddy, right? I don't want to say the full name because maybe he doesn't want people to know, but he's going to be 40.
Right.
And
I thought that was his last name, Arbuddy.
Yes.
Corey Arbuddy.
Corey Arbuddy.
Yeah, Corey Arbuddy.
Oh, is that Romani?
It is.
But yeah.
He's a traveler.
It is weird because like everybody's turning 40, and it did make me feel very like reflective.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it made me look back more.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to hit this very arbitrary thing.
Yes.
And feel that way.
40's tough.
Yeah, and it makes me look back and almost feel like, wait, where did my 30s go?
Right.
I also feel shortchanged because
As you should.
Thank you. Just in general, in life in general.
Yes.
But I feel shortchanged because the last of my 30s was spent during a global pandemic.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, so I went away in my late 30s.
Yeah.
And now I'm 40 and I'm like, what the hell just happened, right? And it is weird. Like I have my wife and I have my son. They're both incredible and I love them endlessly, and they're wonderful people.
Yeah.
But I think, my son being 8 once you have a kid, it's like time just absolutely speeds up, right?
Yeah, of
You
course.
just fly through it.
Yeah.
And you're constantly reminded by that passage of time, like when he has a birthday, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because there's a moment in time specifically that you can look at where it's like there's before I was a parent and then there's after. And before was me turning like 31.
Right.
And I was just going through all of that. And now I'm hitting 40. I'm like, wait, hold on. What happened here? Right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it all just flew right by.
Yeah.
It is weird. So you feel not great about hitting 40.
I felt not great about most of my birthdays.
Okay.
The other night I was out with friends and they're like, "Oh, if you could like go back and make different choices, would you?" And they were like, "No way. That my choices have made me who I am." And I'm like,
That's
"Yes,
weird. I would definitely kill Hitler.
I would make a ton of different choices."
Like what?
Oh my gosh. Taking my fallback job after college.
Really?
Like, falling back into Walgreens. And it's like, well, what about the people you met at Walgreens? I'm like, they're fine. Those people are fine without me.
Okay, we're dealing with an It's a Wonderful Life situation.
Yeah. Oh, I have George Bailey
Sliding
syndrome.
doors.
Ooh, yeah. That's
I haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
Ooh, it's good.
I left the slided door.
It's good. I had to.
I love a good slid door.
No, I'm George.
That's the slipperiest door I've ever seen.
Look at that.
That's a very good sound effect.
Oh, thank you very much.
Jeez.
They do call me I forgot his name.
Michael
Foley.
Winslow.
Michael Winslow?
Oh.
No. Is it Michael Winslow?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, I'm thinking of Mr. Winslow.
We talk about this.
Oh, you're thinking.
We talk about this on
Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carl Winslow.
Imagine if Carl Winslow was the sound effect guy.
We talk about this guy on Tuesdays with Stories every single
Michael
week.
Winslow?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Joe does so many sounds.
Yeah.
And every week,
They
same,
got
same
they
comments.
do a Winslow.
And I go,
Yep.
go
What is
ahead.
that? You have
That's
keys?
just like,
You're
okay,
spinning the keys?
here.
I got them right
Queef,
here.
Jizz, farts. I know, I get it.
Yeah.
Fart into my microphone, and then I'll put it in Drew Barrymore's face. I got to cut that.
That's weird.
Well, I feel bad now because what if Drew Barrymore's like, hey, you're not cleaning your farts off your microphone?
Noted fun bear, Drew Barrymore, going to hear this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And one of our biggest fans is Barry Drewmore.
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life. You're going back through your life, and
Yeah.
you're saying,
But that's dangerous though.
Oh,
like
no.
thinking about it in those terms is a fool's errand.
Oh yeah,
Because-
absolutely. That's my favorite kind of errand.
Yeah, I love a fool's errand.
You know what? I'll say it second favorite behind going to look for toys with Chuck.
yeah,
That's a great errand.
yeah, that's a fun area.
That's
Maybe
an
we're
errand
getting
with
a
a fool.
scone somewhere. Our fool. We're running our fool's errand.
Can we play the Yeah.
We should start saying that.
can
That's fun.
can we cue the bass line from Seinfeld now? Because that was definitely a moment there. But no, I think that's so dangerous to play with because I think everybody does, regardless of age. I
Yeah.
think people think back to like the larger choices. Like there's a part of me that is constantly amazed at the idea and how insanely what's the word I'm looking for here? Like it's at a very it's at the whim of just chance, right? Like the
Arbitrary.
Yes, thank you. I'm very tired today. The arbitrary.
I also got
choices.
you with dexterity earlier. I'm like a walking encyclopedia. I'm
Yeah.
a social.
social?
He says two polysyllabic words, and then he's like, "I'm a walking dictionary.
I'm always helping.
I'm a genius.
I'm always assisting those who can't think of the right word.
The word you're looking for is arbitrary.
I'm a social Batman," and then drifts back into the shadows.
I do other stuff.
And then
That's just one of the things I help with.
somebody's trying to think of a word, and they hear from the shadows through a dictionary. I think the word that you were looking for was comely. Comely. It's sort of ugly, but not quite.
Comely.
I wish I had lived my life with more confidence.
Yeah,
And-
me too.
yes.
Yeah. I think anybody does. And I think there's a false confidence in the idea of looking back at moments in your life,
Right.
Because you know the outcomes of
Yes.
things, and like that's part of why I always feel like there's a part of me that's just like, can we all just go back to the '90s and kill the internet and like live in that world? But there's a part of me that's like, but I feel that way because I was a child.
Yeah.
I was a child.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And of course it's safe and secure.
A young adult.
You were 32.
Yes.
In 1990.
Yes.
So crazy.
Well, this is one of the things. I think
good year.
What I wanted to say about the sliding doors idea.
Right.
The arbitrary choice that I made of like going to the school that I went to, going to the college I went to, where I met my wife,
right,
and we have a child, and I thought about it because the school invited me back a few months ago to do a show,
right,
at their homecoming celebration and stuff like that. So I did a show at their new theater. It's beautiful, loved it, and it was nice to go back and do that.
Right,
but I was discussing like how much I got out of that school that had nothing to do with my degree. And I'm like, I walked out of here with a family.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? My son wasn't born yet, but like I met my wife, we
Right.
got married.
It's the seed of your family.
Yeah, ew. And no, I made the seed of my family.
Ew.
I generated it.
Yeah, and I know how it works.
You know what they call that? Comely. But it is crazy to think like, oh yeah, just going to that school. Like if I hadn't gone to that school,
Yeah.
if I hadn't had been placed in the dorm hall that I was placed in, my life would be totally different.
I'll say that's
it's crazy.
When we were doing placements, because for a while we did placements by hand in my former job at
By
UMass Dartmouth.
hand? What is that? You
we would
held
take,
their hand and took them to
we
a
would
dorm.
take applications and like paper applications, and we'd have them sorted by gender or room type or whatever, and we'd say, all right,
hotness, level of hotness.
that was not it was self-reported, so not really.
So you got to get character witnesses.
So Brad's
for
like,
that.
Hey, fellow hotties.
Yes. But we would say like we're making like wedding parties right now.
Yeah.
Like by putting these people together and
it's fucking crazy.
and then
And
there,
I know
there was
you
one,
do that, and it freaks me out knowing that like essentially you chose the outcome of my life.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
There was
Yeah,
there
that's
was one year it was like, oh, these people all wanted nursing housing or whatever, and everyone in there had a last name that started with S because I thought it was funny. That was it. That was the only reason that I'm like, all right.
If you're the social Batman, you are like the low, quiet Joker.
No. There's, Brad is the Nick Fury of a few situations. I don't know if he wants to bring it up on the podcast.
The social Victor Zaz. What's his name? Zaz. The killer with the.
Oh, yes.
Because I'll just kill any social situation. I will beat a punchline to death.
Yep.
No.
I will.
And you like calendars?
No, I don't know. I mean, I think Ray must know the story about your ties to the Boston bombing.
What did you do?
I housed him.
No.
That was it.
While he was on the run?
The whole group.
That was your boat that he was hiding under?
Yes.
You know the group of guys that did it?
Yeah. No, not personally.
But you know that there was a group of guys?
I know
no.
of them.
You know how you and Kalina, blah, blah, you were just talking about that? Imagine if there was someone that put those guys together.
All right. If someone was asked to put those guys together.
Yikes.
Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
The guys who helped him dispose of evidence. I had put them all in the same suite the year before.
And you're like, you come in, you're like, what do you guys think you have in common? Maybe find common ground and have a chat.
I was asked to put them there because of their shared ethnic background.
And that's the danger.
Yeah.
That's the danger of segregation. When you segregate, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yep.
Okay? I think that's part
Close
of what he
personal
was
friend
saying.
of Ray Harrington.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But that is wild.
Isn't
that is wild.
That he's the Nick Fury of that situation?
But how were you to know? You know what I mean?
I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Well,
no.
Did you though?
Well,
Didn't the FBI want to find out how much you did know?
They did not talk to me.
That was a funny... Do you remember that whole thing?
Yeah, I do. I remember.
Funny.
Well, it was funny that Brad was... It's funny that Brad was somewhat linked to it. And that he was like, am I going to be pulled... He was... Were you nervous you're going to be roped in?
I wouldn't say I was nervous, but I was like, the only information I have is like, oh, this is his housing contract.
Yeah,
The end. That's all I have.
Yeah, no, I think...
And I had the email saying, hey, put him with these people. Like, that's who he wants to live with.
These people.
Hold on. But there was a little... You put ha 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 at the bottom of that email.
It was moi ha 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 ha.
And didn't you say at the bottom too, like putting these people together will create never mind.
No,
come on.
I did
An
not.
explosive situation. So stupid. It's so
no, it
stupid.
was, you
I tell
know.
you, when I saw the bombing, I said to my wife, "That's why I don't run in races."
So,
See, I'm just going to do all the shitty ones.
So yeah, well, it's really going through this whole "It's a Wonderful Life" look back on your life thing.
Yeah.
And I want to know because I've heard this, and I'm not sure if this is true. So you guys can tell me: is it a thing where there is a human like survival instinct where you look back on things and your mind kind of brushes away the negative and focuses on the positive in terms of keeping you hopeful for the future?
Oh, mine just brushes away the positive.
I think there's a general. I think generally you look back
With
at different
rose-colored
parts of your
Yeah.
life. There's a security there that isn't real. It's an imagined security because you know the outcome of things, right? Yeah, it's easy to see those situations. I can't even continue now.
Because he looked at me
Yeah.
quizzically. What do you think it means?
That you're crushing my head.
Half hour.
Okay.
Get it?
That we're a half hour.
No,
and
I
we're gonna
get
try
it.
and stick
It's
to
30
it.
I understand.
Yeah,
I
okay.
understand. There was no context for it, and I'm like, are you telling Ray to shut up? Because hold your hold.
Wait, are
I'm gonna
you-
hold
I'm
your
a
head.
Trying to
social
do the
magneto.
force? Yeah, are you doing the force on me?
I wish.
Of course you wish. The intensity
could-
in which you went, I wish I could choke Ray with my mind is insane. That's the most passive aggressive wish I've
You know
ever
what
heard.
happened? You would be at your house, and you and Kalina would be settling down for a movie, and Ray would be like, "Yeah, I heard this is," and me and Brown are like outside in your bushes.
Why am I there?
Of course you got
I'm
roped
on,
in.
I'm on
Yeah.
a fool's errand here.
Yeah, you are. No, I think looking back at things like that's why nostalgia exists. That's
Yeah.
why all
Yes,
of those
yes.
things happen. That's why you can look back, even at something as simple as like a show. We're talking about like watching movies and stuff.
Yeah.
You watch a show or a movie that you love.
Yeah.
There's a comfort in being like, I know how this ends. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
enjoying the ride, right? And I think that happens with life. But it is weird to mark a moment. Going back to turning 40, like you've experienced it, I've experienced it, you're going to experience it in a few months. And there is this weird feeling of marking it and going, there's this side and
Yep.
there's this side.
The hill.
Yeah. And it's very strange because like now I'm looking at life in a different way and I'm going, am I getting old? Are there things about me? And I've noticed, here's two things that I think are making me an old man.
How's your penis?
Oh, it's great. It's fine.
Oh, then you're not that old. Then you're not as old as me.
Listen, you do crosswords to keep your mind from fading away.
I do, but I use
And I
my
work out my penis regularly
How you do it?
with
Like a lot of
people and by
flicking?
myself, stuff like that.
with weights.
Yeah.
weight
You know
training.
those, you know those
circuit-
stretchy bands that
Yeah.
have different tensions?
Yeah.
I'm up to a dark green, and that's very stretchy. It's just
Yes.
like, yeah.
All right. Well, ask me how I fill out the crosswords.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that's good.
So,
you wrap it around there. Oh, but I was going to say the two things that I feel old now about. One, I was looking at my chapped up little hands, and I was like, I think I need a hand lotion. And I'm like,
Is that old?
I think to me it is because I went through my entire life being like, I don't need that shit.
I
I'm
know,
fine.
me
I grew
too.
up in Maine where it's like the cold is the cold. You just go out there, and it's that younger person mentality of like wearing like this jacket in January, right?
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
kind of thing. It's unseasonably warm now,
Right.
But I growing up, I'd be like, I'm fine, and go out in short sleeves and a shirt.
Me too.
Yeah, and now I'm like, I think I need some hand lotion for my chappy hands,
Yeah.
and I'm also being like, ooh, it's cold, right? Like that's starting
Yeah.
to happen.
I have a lot of. It's funny because I have a lot of stuff like that I'm not sure what to attribute it to.
Do you have old-isms? That's a good question.
That's a good
Ooh.
question. I mean, for some reason, I don't know why, my lips get chapped as of the past couple years every winter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did this never happen before, or did I not care about this before? And I can't remember that. But I wanted to say I do. When I turned 35,
Yeah.
I did have like an epiphany thing, and I did go through a thing that I'm remembering now. When I turned 35, I remember I was like, I was like, I have to move to New York if I want to pursue this thing that I'm doing, like this filmmaking and comedy stuff. And before that, and it's weird because I was actually writing someone about this recently, Joe. I was just like doing stuff and being like, I want to film stuff all the time. The band was playing shows. We were filming videos, like the senior discount videos. And it was really just like, what is the end game? We have to make this video good. And that was it. I just wanted to be better.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 35, I'm like, oh man, I'm 35 years old. How am I going to, like, I have to find a resolution point of there's some version of like, either this is success or it's just a hobby and I have to start being a real adult in that direction.
Yeah.
And when I was 35 is when I decided to move to New York. That is when that like fall, basically I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time and she's like, all right, give me 6 months to like get things together and figure this out, because she was unsure about it too. And in February, we started looking at places. And the week after we first looked at places, or maybe it was the end of February into March, is when the coronavirus shut everything down.
Yeah.
And so it pushed that back a little bit. But when I was 35, I just remembered I did go through a very specific, this is a turning point and I have to do things in a different way.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's very strange.
Well, I feel it too because on my birthday, I had a moment where I'm like, I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I'm ever going to be a maniacal villain, I have to start now.
No,
so it was
you
that
don't.
same pull.
No, you
And it was
don't.
that same
you
choice.
can start whenever you want.
See, that's what they say. That's what they
when
say.
When did Victor Freeze start?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. But so I made the choice, and I'm not going to say what it is. I'm just going to say that you're going to hate it. No, but I think it is interesting. Like for me, I'm in the thing that I want to pursue, right?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, COVID fucked all of that stuff up anyway. So I'm still kind of in that place.
I do have another oldism.
Yeah, hit me. I want to play in that space. That feels fun.
I did one 2 days ago for the first time.
Half of this conversation is support group conversation.
Yes.
Right? And then half of this is fun, and I want to live in the fun. I don't want to go back to those folding chairs in the YWCA, right?
I'll give you an oldism.
Because they won't let Brad go in anymore.
Oldism. The other day I went out and I was like, it's this temperature now, so this jacket's okay, but it might be cold tonight. I'm bringing a second jacket and keeping it in the backseat of my car. That was like the first time I ever did that.
That's an oldism, huh? Yikes!
I think that's
I've been
a
old since
person,
I was
right?
14.
Sure.
Really?
I think there are people. No, I think there are people that are just like, there are the people that carry a fucking umbrella.
Yeah.
If it says it's going to rain and it's not raining, and then there are people that go, I wish I had an umbrella. And I know I'm usually the person that goes, I wish I had an umbrella.
I don't like an umbrella. I don't like the rain.
I don't like an umbrella.
I don't like an umbrella. There's something wrong with the umbrella. I don't know if
What's wrong with the umbrella?
It's just
bad luck opening it
First
indoors.
of all, there's points everywhere, so you don't know who you're going to poke in the eye.
What are you doing? No, you're not supposed to like singing in the
We're
rain,
really- we're-
swing the umbrella
Honestly,
around.
right now we're going through Batman's rogues gallery. Everyone's like, oh, umbrellas.
Why do you hate them?
See if you hate this.
You're going to feel really embarrassed because we have today Jeremy Umbrella, the inventor of the umbrella.
I feel like if I'm walking down, first of all, if you have an umbrella, you're outside.
Yeah.
You're walking by other people, you might poke them, and I don't want to poke.
Okay.
There's that.
Maybe it's because I'm 6'7", and
Oh,
the
yeah, you're not
danger
gonna-
of an umbrella being at head height is not there for me.
This is an interesting thing. You know, making me look like a weirdo. Do you ever think about the poke?
No. But I'm not in.
Don't internalize things as insults.
I am.
You've done it so many times.
I'm not.
Well, you called me a piece of shit and punched me in the
that
stomach.
is-
So
well, the idea of being 6'7", holding an umbrella, you are immune to a poke.
I'm
To poking
less
others.
likely to poke others.
Yeah, you might be more
I'm actually
likely-
more at risk to be poked. I'm a high poke risk.
I feel like the population density of where I'm walking with an umbrella is lower. Like it's never going to be in New York City.
True.
Whereas you, if you're walking down the street, those are crowded streets.
That's true. If I think
If I'm walking into a Target
Like yesterday
from my
where
my car in
Sure.
suburbia,
yeah,
Well,
you're
he
true.
can walk around Staten Island all he wants.
No,
yeah,
but like-
yeah, plenty
but
of
like,
room there.
Where
Yeah.
it's true though, because like yesterday, like I parked where I park is on the other side of Grand Central Station.
Yeah.
And then I walk 3 blocks, go through Grand Central, then walk 2 blocks.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's what I do think of an umbrella as a cumbersome item to walk through a crowd.
The idea of using an umbrella when I'm out and about does not appeal to me in the slightest.
Me too.
Because I'm like, well, just the idea of having to do this for the whole time drives me crazy.
Me too.
That's when I turn into a weirdo who's like, hey, that shoulder mount for your umbrella seems like a great idea.
Me too.
A hands-free umbrella,
Well,
right?
that's my dad.
It's what it's like. It's like a.
Oh, Brad's dad wears an umbrella hat.
He does.
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Don't throw that at me when I have a fun thing to say. It's like those infomercials from the 90s where they were advertising for a hands-free phone thing.
Yes.
But it was
And
just
it's like
a headband you would put on that velcroed the cordless phone to your ear. And they're like, now I can do the dishes while I talk on the phone.
Yeah.
And now we look at that like, that's fucking crazy. We have magical little pods that we put in our ears with no cords, no wires,
Yes.
right? So I think I could absolutely be roped into an infomercial for a hands-free umbrella.
Yeah.
Now, please tell me about your dad
he
being
bought
a
it-
circus character.
He bought them lightheartedly, without an intention to use them.
As a goof or spoof or spoof.
Goof spoof, and like, oh, the grandkids will think it's funny if I wear this at their soccer game.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, the grandkids will be mortified.
Yeah.
But,
No, that's funny.
He's like, can you buy them for me from Amazon, because he doesn't navigate Amazon well. Because he's
Not
a dad.
the Amazon, like the website.
Yeah, he's great at the Amazon. No problems
Go on,
with
Brad.
the river, but the website gives him.
problem with the river.
So he owns 2. Like one is like umbrella, and one is like a sunshade, like a parasol.
Okay.
To prevent the sun from his bald spot.
So
This won't be a clip, will it?
Oh, yeah. By the way, having 2 of those, how do you not
watches
immediately think having 2 umbrella hats, boobs. Boobs. It's got to be boobs. If I was holding 2 umbrella hats, I'm saying maximum 10 seconds before I go, right? And that's how I know I keep the childlike
he may
wonder
have.
alive.
Yeah.
He may have. I don't know.
well, I will say this. I mean,
What if that's what he's into?
this seems more normal, but it's similar. You said you don't want to walk around with an umbrella in your hand.
Yeah.
When Brad and I go for walks near my house, if we're gonna go get coffee, I bring my water bottle, and they give me the coffee, and I put it in the water bottle because I hate carrying stuff. And I think that's part of my cumbersome umbrella thing. It's now one of my hands is things. I'm poking people in the eye. I just want to be rained on. It's much better.
I'll bring a rain jacket of some sort. Mm-hmm. And to me, having a hood, fine.
The
Cancels
hood.
the need for the umbrella. But I am significantly more likely now to check the weather, not just for the day, but for the next several days. And I'm like, I know it's going to rain on Friday. I'll wear my rain jacket on Friday.
That's an oldism.
That's an oldism.
That's an oldism.
Checking the weekly weather is an oldism.
Yeah. Now I'll check weather based on travel, because I have to travel a lot for stand up. So I'll check weather for that stuff.
Yes.
But not for like, good to know that on Thursday it's going to be a 20-degree drop.
Yep.
But I'll check the weather in the morning.
Yeah, that's fine.
To see like what kind of
Which
layers am I
jacket
working
should my
with here?
kiddo wear?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
you have a son though. That's different.
Should I bring him in?
Yeah.
different when you have
Should I let him sleep
Should I
indoors?
finally slide that sliding glass door open from the backyard and let him in for a night?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. It's going to be below 0. Better bring him in.
You know what? He's been coming along. That lean-to's really been coming along. This will be his first real test.
Yeah. And it's like the poster that we have in the living room at my house.
Mm-hmm.
It says, if you're cold, he's cold. And it's a picture of my son. Let him in.
Oh yeah.
He's got a shirt.
I'd say an oldism probably for all of us is that we and not saying we all adhere to it.
Yeah.
But we probably all know that if we stretched more often, we'd feel better as human beings.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I'll say the amount of ice cream I eat now in a sitting / in a year, significantly lower. Like at one point
Really?
in my youth, I could eat a whole, I know it's not officially ice cream, but a whole peanut butter parfait from Dairy Queen. And now the idea of having that much Dairy Queen in me is nauseating.
Yeah, there is a thing. I think it comes. It's tough because I don't know how much of this is like knowing more about food and what's fucking horrible for you.
Right.
Yes.
Or having kind of cut a lot of those things out of my life. But I look back at like the way I used to eat, and I'm disgusted. You know
I
what
mean, for me, that was 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to make a change and take better care of myself now that I don't have my job as an anchor pulling me down.
But you also have the metabolism change.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
changed a
looking
while
back
ago.
at like early 20s and shit, where it's like, oh yeah, I'll just eat a whole pizza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's gross. It's disgusting.
I love
now
that.
I don't think I could.
Yeah.
You know?
It's tough. It's funny because I realize one of the things, I mean, this is kind of boring, but with the weight loss and like dedicating myself to trying to eat better, I realized like, hey, I like feeling full. I know that that's weird, but it's just like I like that feeling more than I like feeling like I ate enough. So I'm like, let me find stuff that will make me feel full and kind of just indulge in that kind of stuff. And that's been one of the things, but I don't know if this is old stuff and I have this long-standing belief that when we were all in school, they were like, here's the food pyramid. Cake is bad. Pies are bad. Enjoy your pasta. Eat your Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
And we just...
We grew up with like real bullshit.
Yeah,
real bullshit.
Yeah, I put Fruity Pebbles in my pasta.
When I was
No
growing
sauce.
up, like my whole thought was like, dessert is bad for you. And I didn't have any other thoughts. I'm like, I ate pasta Alfredo. I'm an adult. This is when I was like 13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you grow up and you realize like, no. Like pasta, carbs, like bread, rice, all that is bad. Stay away from it.
Yeah, it's like, you know what I did? I was healthy. I had a salad from McDonald's and 3 Mountain Dews. And it's like, that salad has more awful shit in it for you from McDonald's than a burger there. You know what I mean?
I know.
It is that idea.
3 Mountain Dews, though, perfectly healthy.
Oh, God. I look back at that. I remember there was a time in high school. I rode my best friend's bus to his house one day. We would do this once in a while.
Yep.
And then we got there, and by the time we got to his house on the bus, we had talked ourselves into having a Mountain Dew drinking contest.
Yeah.
Where we sat down and we're just like,
How tall is he?
crack, glug, 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 glug. Crack, glug, 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 glug. And then like the rest of the day feeling like shit and wondering why. You know what I mean? It's like it's the weirdest thing. The night after that Mountain Dew drinking contest, I shit water for an hour.
I went blind for a short amount of time.
I vibrated so much I could walk through walls.
I pooped out of my wiener.
Yeah.
I went to when I used to go to Five Guys. This is true. At Five Guys, they call a regular burger. They call a double burger. A double cheeseburger is a regular burger, and a single burger is called a little cheeseburger.
That's
or
correct.
something.
Yes.
I used to get a regular burger, which is a double burger with mayonnaise,
Gross.
ketchup, lettuce, tomato.
Yeah, see, I don't like mayo on a burger.
Oh, I love it. I love a club. When a club is like mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, and I love that
Chess
combo.
club and
Right.
a book club.
I'd
Glee Club.
I'd get a bacon double cheeseburger with that stuff on it.
Yeah.
And I'd get a single burger with ketchup, mustard, pickles on it. And I first of all, I loved it, and the taste is still amazing, but I cannot believe that I ate that much in one sitting with their fries as well.
Yeah.
And I think a problem for me too was like during that time, like my best friend that I had that drinking contest with.
Yep.
His metabolism was insane.
Yeah.
This kid was skinny.
Yeah.
And ate like absolute shit.
Right.
Like you bring up the burgers and stuff. Like he would go to Wendy's and just be like burger, burger, burger. Like he would just eat so much shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, we eat the same. I don't know what the problem is here, right? And I'm like, why am I so fat? What's going on here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in a big way, I guess like fuck that guy. I don't
Yeah.
know. Hey, Sean, what the fuck, man? Why didn't you say
Why didn't you
clearly
tell
this
me?
is affecting your body differently? But okay, so old-isms, right? It is a weird thing. Like we're in this period of time. I think it's also tricky because we live in a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big part of it too, where we can clearly denote what periods of time in our lives, because we have pre-internet and post-internet as a big aspect of that, right? Like I think like Gen Xers, or older Gen Xers, almost boomers, I think they can look at life in a different way, because I think their 20s and 30s with the lay of the land of the world looked largely similar to like their 40s.
Right.
For us, when we think back to like being teenagers.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The world was different because social media didn't exist. We didn't know what that was. If you said social media to me when I was 20, I'd be like, what is...
Oh, I remember marketing classes in college where it's like, companies are starting to put their websites in commercials. You can go to www.att.com.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, the world is changing.
Right, yeah. That's what I mean. It's like it's a different world, right? Like
that's
growing
weird.
up, like our childhoods have all of the old media. And so it's easier for us to feel disconnected from that.
That's really interesting because like I'm 38, 18 years ago is 2004.
Right.
And that's like probably like right before all this stuff started.
Yeah.
And was used by a much smaller segment of the population.
Right. I remember being in college and like first year and like getting a friend request on Friendster.
Ooh, yeah.
From a friend of mine, and then like nobody was on that site, so I was like, well, I'm done. Yeah. But like it is a weird thing because it is a completely different landscape. And like I remember like AIM being a thing in college. It was very useful. It was the tail end of AIM.
Yeah. Right.
But like I went to college pre-texting. Right?
Yeah.
Like texting happened, but it was very rare, and you had to do the number pad texting.
That's what I had.
And that's what I feel like an old man saying it.
Yeah, me too.
Right now.
Yeah.
You only had the numbers. You only had the so if you wanted to do a C, you had to do a 2 3 times.
Yeah.
See, and that sounds confusing.
Right.
Yeah.
A 2 3 times.
Yeah.
Not a 6.
I was good at it. I was killer at it. It's called T9 texting, right?
Yes, I was very bad at it.
I was great at it. I could be like this. Like under the desk at school, I could be like just like be texting like perfect things.
Oh, I thought you were doing that, but then saying, I'm just texting.
I'm just texting.
I'm just texting. Yeah. but it is a weird thing because like I look at my childhood and it does look so different.
Yeah.
Like I used to ride my bike to the local video store and get Dollar Tuesday rentals when I was in tail end of middle school.
Yeah.
Like I would ride my bike and get VHS tapes at the video store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that whole thing doesn't exist.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Being in middle school and riding your bike like all over town.
Nope.
That doesn't happen.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then going to a video store, that doesn't happen.
Right.
And watching VHS tapes and the specialness of the movie because you had to physically go get it.
Yep.
And it's this movie or those handful of movies I own.
Right.
That's it. And watching a new movie and having it be so exciting. I think about that with my son Finn.
I think about
and
that
the
with video
fact
games.
that he can just go, no.
I know.
I'll watch that and like not be invested.
And 10 minutes in, be like, oh, you know what? Let me watch something else.
It's like, dude, I watched terrible shit all the way through because I was lucky to have it. And that's how we're going to be old men.
Yes.
The old man version of us, instead of like I used to walk 6 miles to school uphill both ways in a snowstorm, our version of that is like, back in my day, if you wanted to see a movie, you had to go out and get that movie.
Well,
or watch it with commercials.
Well, what's interesting that I think it
and
changes.
no boobs.
Yeah. What's a commercial?
This is a bigger conversation, but I think about this constantly. That I don't think that, like, with all that choice, I don't think that access leads to good things rising to the top. Some people have that belief, and I don't have that belief at all.
Nope.
I believe that all that access means the thing that's going to rise to the top is the thing that appeals to the lowest common denominator.
I was just going to say lowest common denominator.
That's how I feel, and it's really negative for art. It's really negative for all types of art, no matter what it is, and it's negative to cater to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
But now, if you want to be successful, I think that that's even more of a place to go.
Yeah, and because it's about money.
Exactly.
And it's about numbers, algorithm-based bullshit, where it's just like, well, what gets the most views and we'll cater to that. I think Netflix is a great microcosm of where we're gonna where having full digital access to everything, and that's how everything comes out, and it's algorithm based and it's lowest common denominator. I think Netflix is a good indicator. It was like the first big streaming platform.
Right.
It was doing its thing, and now if you look at what Netflix is today, it's different, and it's very clearly lowest common denominator based.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're putting out programming themselves that is what's the broadest thing we can do?
Right.
What's the most tepid thing? And then occasionally something will come through that is a higher form, right? Like it isn't lowest common denominator. You look confused.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Like Stranger Things started, I think, as a lowest common denominator pursuit.
Yes.
You know, it's the 80s. It's nostalgia all over it. We're going to give you a simple thing. But thankfully, like the quality was there. Then it went away, but then it came back, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other Netflix things that are generally and genuinely like quality things.
Right.
There's an awful lot of garbage. There's an awful lot of stuff of just like, we're going to put this out because it is easily digestible.
Yes.
And it's something that looks exactly like something else that just happened.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think the stuff that Netflix produces is one thing, which is kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But even the stuff that they license and put on there is kind of the same thing. I used to, for the short amount of time that I was doing stand-up, one of the bits I had that I was working on that I wanted to do was essentially like, you know how when you go to the store, like a gas station, and you see like Transmorphers, and it's some bullshit ripoff of Transformers. A lot of stuff on streaming services that is cheap because people have the access. Go, well, they don't have this, so this is sort of similar. This bullshit action movie is kind of like, I want to watch this thing that just came out. This is close enough. They just put it on and veg out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just in a less obvious way.
Or instead of Matt Reeves' The Batman, they watch Chuck Staton's The Social Batman. They're like, it's still Batman.
Yeah.
Still learning a lot.
I'll say it's as funny as The Social Network and as Batman as The Social Network.
But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, I don't want this to be old man shakes fist at clouds.
Right,
But I do feel like that.
But also, those clouds better fucking shape up. You know what I mean?
I'll also say
that's funny.
Kids today don't get the reference old man shakes fist at
Sure,
clouds.
yeah.
That's from our generation.
Yeah, you know, we say it, and you know what? We sound pretty chuggy about that, yeah?
So yeah,
chuggiest.
It's very chuggy. No cap, that's fucking chuggy. I want to die. Oh my God, I just said that out loud.
Yeah.
And like
Facts.
I said it ironically. Just the fact that you are saying it ironically is like, yeah, because it doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth.
yeah,
You know?
it's a really interesting thing because you wanna fight the feeling of being like things are different, and when I was younger, things were good.
Yeah.
And to actually parse that and say, well, what about that is true, and what about that is not true, and what about that is just me becoming older,
And
is
also
hard.
taking that and adding to the fact, like I said before, like the landscape of a life is so different now, post-internet. It's wild. Like we are in a generation that's very unique.
Yeah.
Where we grew up without it and watched it rise, and now we have it. Everyone before us went through the process, and it's like new as an adult, and everyone after us has had it since they were born. And our lives were different. We had a different experience.
Yeah.
And it's fucking weird.
That is
And it
weird.
makes me feel older.
Me
It makes
too.
me feel even older. I feel like I'm like 55 and talking about like what it was like during the fucking Vietnam draft.
I was thinking last night when I was going to bed.
Not good.
I was thinking about the fact
Famous Dodger right here.
no way.
Fuck you.
I had flat feet and was 4F because of that.
No, I was thinking last night about, I remember having an argument with someone in the early 2000s.
How can you keep them all straight?
And
the idea of like tracing it back to that period
Well,
of
no,
time. It was the early 2000s.
Well, think about
Tuesday.
it. When you
I
hear
was at Strawberries.
I was
remember
talking
'cause
about.
I was jamming out to Sum 41.
I was.
Killer, no filler.
We were talking about. I think it was the first iPod that had an actual video screen on it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I was arguing with someone because I was like, oh, this is going to be like the future is going to be just this because we still had CD books at that time. You know what I mean? There was a transitional tier. And the person I was arguing with was essentially like, yeah, but like MP3s, they don't match the quality of a CD, which is true.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not the same quality. They have to degrade it in a different way so it doesn't actually meet the quality. And I was
They humiliate it. That's how they
yeah.
degrade it.
I said, well, I'm like,
They make it eat out of a dog dish.
I go, it doesn't matter. The quality difference is not going to matter. Convenience is always going to beat out
100%.
the quality of the experience. And
Yeah.
they're like, absolutely not.
That's why we make sure you can get this anywhere.
They were like, they were like, no way. It's just going to be split where there's some people that don't care about quality and some people are, and the world's just going to be split. And I'm like, it's not going to happen. And the truth is, like, if there is a split, it's 95 and 5%.
Yeah.
You know
There's
what I mean?
it's the people that are like, I spend $600 on headphones because of the audio clarity on this, and you're like, okay, they're audio files. That's what they become.
You know, I don't think that any of my senses are good.
Okay.
Like I can't
That
taste...
just came out of left
I just
field.
realized, like, all right, so I don't hear the differences in audio quality, not an audio file.
Sure.
I don't taste the differences. Like if you're like, oh, here's a dark roast, here's a blonde roast.
Yeah.
Nope, not a super taster.
To be fair,
Okay, keep going.
you haven't trained your palate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Your palate is like one of those old like pallets.
Yeah,
P-A-L-L-E-T.
yeah.
Shit got shipped on it.
Yes.
And somebody looks at it and like, maybe we can make a coffee table out of that.
Yes.
Right? But
then they set a cup of coffee and it just collapses.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, so we've got
I can't hear.
audio.
Yep.
We've got ears. We've got tongues.
Right.
What about eyes?
Okay,
you wear
eyes,
glasses.
I do wear glasses, often on my forehead.
Yep.
Really, as a way visually,
Yeah.
so that people could tell me and Chuck apart because we're almost the same height. I'm a little bit taller.
But if I
get it down, you don't know.
See, to give you a compliment though about your eyesight, I know you always say you definitely see color.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I say it in a very specific circumstance.
Yes. Yeah. When we're around like other people.
Yeah, but only. Yeah.
It's this big.
The funny thing about, like, because we're trying to keep track of the time.
That these are hand signals because we talked about let's try and hit an hour. An hour feels good, right? Longer than that, we get off the rails more and we start talking about stuff. Although, ironically, this episode we got there in the hour. We got to just dry conversation in an hour.
Yeah.
But we did come out. So this is a half hour, and this is a whole hour. And I thought it would be subtle. And Chuck said to me on the phone last night, he was like, "Oh no, I do those hand signals all the time. It's fine. It's easy. It's very subtle." And then we come in, and you're like,
Hold on. Well, here's the thing.
The bat signal.
It worked out perfectly with Ray because we talked about it. So I went like this just now.
Yeah.
And Ray went like this. He went, and he didn't even pause the sentence. He just like nodded.
"You know why? Because I'm a comic. I'm used to
it's
like
the same thing.
giving a signal to the light."
But we never explained it to Brad.
I had no
So
idea.
I have to do it and then do it so much to try to convey what it means.
Well, then he did the Diamond Dallas Page diamond cutter, and then he said, "Bang!" And I'm like, "That's not a reference everyone's gonna get. I don't know why you're doing it."
Also, looking over at Chuck, going
Yeah.
like this is.
I also will say, here's how I look at the hour thing.
Yeah.
I don't look at it like it's an hour. We need to stop at an hour.
No.
I look at it like, the plane is like, let's get ready for landing.
Yeah.
We're
what
putting
the
our
hour
tray
is.
tables. I just, I guess, I don't smell so good.
Yeah.
I don't smell so well.
No,
I
no.
also
Here we go.
don't. I also
Good
don't
is
smell so
different.
good.
Good is
I don't
different.
smell good or well.
I smell terrible is different than I smell terribly.
Yes.
Right.
Both are accurate in my case, and I don't know anyone who's a super toucher who's like, you can feel.
I think Chuck certain court documents
Yes.
say he's a super toucher.
That's his supervillain name.
Super toucher.
It's weird because
Stop touching people so much.
I know what you're talking about when you say your senses aren't great, but you're also very, very specific. And for some reason, that is almost the opposite.
Maybe
of
my
that,
tongue
right?
is too good at touching and not
tongue?
good at tasting, and
Yeah.
that's why I have so many texture issues. A lot of T's, a lot of T's in those clauses.
But that's also why you lick Braille books and you can read.
yeah.
You can read.
I speed read.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why. Salt. Oh God! I added so many words with that salt.
It's interesting though because you are so specific that although I do think you are a little bit more like how you said your sense of touch.
Yeah.
I think you're more like I'm a little chilly, I'm a little hot, I'm a little this. You
Well,
are very
that's
much
because
like that.
I'm old.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
But
And-
your sense is very specific.
I still think vests are dumb.
He hates vests.
Doesn't make sense. When I get cold, my hands
Yeah.
get cold. Why am I heating my trunk?
The core.
Doesn't make
It's not
sense.
called a trunk.
It's called a trunk in Indiana.
Oh God.
He
Your
always,
school system.
he always says that.
The school system there.
Oh, it's messed up.
So this is your trunk. Okay. These are your limbs.
Yeah, that's correct.
Your feet are the roots.
Twigs.
That's weird, actually. You call
Twigs.
that your trunk,
Twiggies.
and you call Doughboys elephant ears. Is it all elephant stuff?
yeah.
What's the penis?
We call it
My
a
little
Just a
trunk.
penis.
we call it a Dumbo. Well, some people call it a jumbo. Mine was a Dumbo.
Mine was a dumpo.
Yeah.
A dumpo?
So, yeah, that's interesting. You are kind of bad at.
This is a weird like midlife crisis episode, and I think it's accurate because there's flashes of crisis in the stuff we've talked about.
Yeah.
But it's also filled with inane bullshit.
Yeah, it's like meandering.
And yeah,
there's nothing
and
to
so
do.
that's
there's
where
there's no solving.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
where it
solving.
is. So
it's,
I think
it's us walking up and down the aisles of a Home Depot on a Saturday morning because that's what we're supposed to do now.
yeah, this is a good segue into like wrapping up this little package because it is strange to be at this point in life.
Yeah.
To be, having turned 40.
Yeah.
And before anybody does a joke in the comments, I did not get any racist cakes this year.
Not
Nobody did
yet.
that. Oh no. Of course it would come from the guy that sees color.
It's vanilla frosting only, Ray.
Yeah. The way it should be.
Yes.
We got you a vanilla cake and we got you a chocolate cake separately.
They're
Equally delicious, but separated. But no, it is an odd feeling. I appreciate that I get to go through this weird time with you two boys.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to say a nice thing, about that.
Brad's your mentor, kind of, because he went through it, and you're mentoring me because I'm going to go through it someday.
I don't think I need that job, nor do I want that job. You know what I mean?
no, you do not.
What was that? Are you gonna like the taste of what I said? All right, you don't want to be my mentor?
I'm a super taster.
Fine. I don't need a mentor. I'll be my own mentor.
Can I
Mentor, mentee, mentor, mentee.
before we close this whole thing?
Yeah.
I do have a question. Do you feel like 40 in 1995 or 1992, let's say,
Yeah.
is very different, or 1993 is very different from being 40?
Or 91.
It is very different than being 40 in 2023.
Yes.
What is the deal with that?
I think there's an idea of when you're 40. Like I just saw there was like a little meme thing going around on tweets.com.
Yes.
And it was a photo of Steve Martin and the
Martin Short.
co-star actress in Father of the Bride. And it said like, hey, just so you know, in 1990 whatever, this was 45 years old.
Yes,
like this is what you were supposed to look like.
I see stuff like that all the time.
And I do think then 40 looked like 55.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think the culture generally has shifted to people being younger for a lot longer, right? Like
Yeah.
it almost feels now that your 20s are your late teens, right? To knock shit out. 30s are like your mid 20s, and 40 is like hitting 30. 40's the new 30, guys. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
As much as we're joking,
But
doesn't
I think
it really
that is
feel like that?
Yeah, I think so.
What is the deal with that shift, that cultural shift?
I think because the culture looks different anyway, and
Oh,
I
you know
think
what?
social media has a part to do with that as well.
Social media has a part of it. Obviously, there's like some medical stuff that's moving forward that helps with that as
Yeah.
well. But I think maybe a big part of it too is like, and I know this is like a kind of a cliche thing to say, but you know how people tend to depend on their parents for a longer amount of time.
Oh,
I
sure.
wonder if independence is delayed as well, and that just culturally,
Possibly, yeah, or financially. I
Financially,
think,
yeah.
mostly, and then also there's the idea of like style. I think has a big part of
Right.
it. Style is very different now.
Wow.
And like think about it. Like I was saying this to my son the other day. I was explaining to him because like he wears so many like joggers and sweatpants like
Right.
to school.
Yeah.
And we went out for dinner for my birthday the other night, and he wore like nicer clothes.
Right.
Sure.
And he put on pants. I'm like, you see, I bought those pants for you. They look good on you. They're comfortable, right? And he's like, yeah, they just feel different. I'm like, it's because you always wear joggers because that's what everybody in your school is wearing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had to say to him, like, when I grew up, we didn't have, like, sweatpants were sweatpants.
Yeah.
And it was just one kind of sweatpants.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like an old man saying it. I'm like, we
yeah.
didn't have joggers and stuff like that. And I was like, Finn, it's called athleisure wear.
Yep.
And it didn't exist.
Yeah.
And now it's totally normal to see anyone wearing essentially sweatpants.
Right.
Yeah.
Joggers, things like that.
yeah, like running pants, like Adidas, track pants.
Right. And sneakers have changed. Like you can wear so many different kinds of sneakers that are more like upscale sneakers.
Yep.
Where back then it was like they just didn't have them. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I think
That's
there's so
weird.
many different ways that we feel like this. Although we're saying like, you know, being 40, it doesn't feel like being 40 back then, you know, but there is a part of us that's like, yeah, but if we were 17, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's fucking old.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they do this and they do that and they
know.
have their side part in their hair and it's weird, you know? Because when I feel old, here's an oldism. I feel really old when I see, there is a part of me that's like, everybody's doing that haircut where it's like the shaved back and sides and then a big poof on the top of it, and you look like fucking idiots, right? That's when I feel old.
Wow.
Because that hairstyle. It's a weird thing.
That is weird.
Yeah.
This is making me feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're the youngest of us.
Yeah.
I know. Thank you. I'm the young buck. I know. That's
No,
what
no,
they
no,
say.
no. I just said you're the young
Everyone
guest.
says that.
But I
Young
think
guest.
when
Nobody,
you get
not everybody.
you're gonna
Not
feel bad
anybody.
when you're faced with like those things that are there and do exist. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I became ultra paranoid a few years ago about my health. Probably when I turned 35.
Right. And I do think you have
Similar.
like a Peter Pan syndrome as well, where you're like desperately holding on to that idea. You know what I mean?
Maybe you do. Maybe you're projecting.
I don't think I'm projecting. I think like
we
had
have a George Bailey and a Peter Pan.
Captain Hook, maybe.
Oh yeah, sure, I'll be hooked. I don't give a shit.
You hear the TikTok?
What?
TikTok's following
that is.
What?
You are Captain Hook.
What?
You're terrified of the clock.
I am terrified of the clock. It's death. Time is death. No one has figured this out.
I don't have
it
Peter Pan
frustrates the shit out of me. No one has figured out and come to terms with the idea that time is the only real enemy, and it will get every single one of us. Time, by the second, destroys everything.
You want to hear a lyric I wrote? I came out of my brain box. Want to hear about this?
Oh God, this is like a guy going, "Let me tell you my poetry."
Yeah, it is.
Slam.
I wrote a lyric because I was thinking about time. Same thing.
Sure.
And I wrote,
Time keeps on slipping into the future.
yeah, time keeps on slipping. No, it was
Time may change me,
I wrote,
but I can't change time.
we all live on borrowed time, second hands, which I'm pretty proud of. Second hands, and borrowed time. That's good.
What I wrote is fucking good.
I just know that you would never give me a compliment, but it's good. And
right.
second hands. I'm trying to think is because I thought about this exact thing about how like, hey, no one really has enemies except for this thing.
Right, right.
It was second hands. We live on second hands. I want to smash that face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to smash that. Man, I can't remember it. That's crazy. I was all excited.
I had one that I wrote. It starts turning and turning in the widening gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. things fall apart. The center cannot hold. It's not. I didn't write that.
I know. I was just
I was like,
going to a dark place.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
You know what's happening in my mind right now?
Yep.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
It's
I loved that.
Right?
I loved that. That was great. What was that from?
It's from The Second Coming by Yeats.
Yeah, Yeats.
Is it Yeats?
Yeah, it might be Yates.
That was good.
I think
Yeats.
it's Yates. Yates.
Sometimes
Yeet is when you throw
Oh,
something
that's it.
now.
That's it. Yeah, that's what.
We all live on borrowed time, second hands, ticking by. I want to smash that face. Our worst enemy is not a man. That's what it was.
Oh, because it's a woman. I get it. I get it. It's because it's a woman.
TikTok croc. Well, you can't have Peter Pan syndrome if you are Peter Pan. I just wanted to say.
Jesus Christ. You do often sneak into children's windows, right? And go, come on. It's fun. What are you doing here? I'm looking for my shadow.
Take
Brad-
this
Brad-
fairy
And then Brad
dust.
pops up and he goes, hi, it's me. I'm the shadow.
I'm here too. I was supposed to think happy thoughts and I couldn't.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know if I'm
You're
Captain Hook.
Tinkerbell because we need to clap or that guy's going down.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm Tinkerbell. I wouldn't say I'm Captain Hook. I think I'm like the kid that didn't make it into the story. That was one of the other children that went, no, I'm not going with you. That's insane.
No, you're Tinkerbell.
That's
You're-
insane.
You're Tinkerbell.
I'm the cop that burst in and shot Peter Pan. At the end.
You're Tinkerbell.
Intruder.
You love it.
You saw him. He had a sack with dust in it.
Can I ask you, what is Peter Pan syndrome?
It's refusing to grow up. It's like trying desperately to maintain being a child. I was just explaining what it was, and your face. Use that as a screenshot. Please use that face for the thumbnail on YouTube. You're going like that. That is amazing.
No, well, I'll say this. That's like, I need to figure out what Peter Pan syndrome is because there's a lot of stuff. I've been accused quite a few times of having Peter Pan syndrome.
Really? Oh, that was
Accused?
fun. I was like kind of goofing around.
no.
Diagnosed.
But I think I struck a chord here.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, if, example, if you know someone that, like, I don't know, lives with their mom and they accuse you of have Peter Pan syndrome and you have like a mortgage and I'm just like, well, what are we talking about? Because I like Jurassic Park. Like, what are we...
No, I don't.
I'm not
I don't
talking
think
about you. I'm talking about...
No, well, I don't live with my mom.
oh yeah, exactly.
She lives with me. No, I was kidding. No, but
The basement is mine.
no, genuinely, I do wish my mom lived closer. She's 3 hours away. It sucks. But I would say that I don't think Peter Pan syndrome. I don't think you can look at certain aspects of like external things because it's a psychological thing. So I don't. So I think someone who lives with their parents or something like that can not have Peter Pan syndrome, and someone that's fully independent can.
It's hard because it's hard to take the psychological aspect and be like, and it's hard to take the psychological aspect and be like, oh, by the way, this psychological aspect has nothing to do with your life because it does.
No, yeah,
You know
of
what I
course.
mean? So
Sure.
So it's like,
but it's tough because it doesn't mean like only this type of like if you don't live at home, you can't have Peter Pan syndrome. Like
No,
that's,
I know.
That's like saying if
It's just interesting.
someone can't have OCD if they have a messy closet.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I just the idea of someone who's like, I work part-time at Dunkin' Donuts and you have Peter Pan syndrome.
I feel like
because
you're
you have-
thinking of a very specific person.
I think that basically what I'm saying is I think that
People.
the metric
Yeah.
is very difficult to is that people kind of want to just shape it whatever they want.
I
So
will-
if
I
you're
will
like-
say
if
to-
you're like, hey, like I have a mortgage and I have this much accomplishments and I've done this and I've followed my path, and this person's like, well, I might work at Dunkin' Donuts part-time, but you have an action figure in your house. So you have Peter Pan syndrome.
I mean,
And I'm like, I don't think so.
you named your house Neverland Ranch. What's more Peter
You know what I mean,
Pan-y
though?
than that?
I think
Oh,
that,
he didn't do it for that reason.
I think that
He did it for all the sleepy children.
in other words, I think that people
Well, I think you're thinking of very specific
No, I'm not.
arguments that you've had in
No,
your
I'm
life.
not. I'm not because what I'm saying is I think that you could kind of. I'll put it this way: Scotty Young, amazing Marvel artist who's like incredible.
Sure.
And I wonder if someone would be like, that guy has Peter Pan syndrome because he probably has like toys around his house. and
Oh
he
no!
probably-
See, I don't. When
I
I
wonder about
when I
that.
look at that,
Yeah.
when I jokingly said that.
Do you mean someone
I'm
that's
not
like fighting
thinking-
youth?
I don't
like Madonna?
No, I don't think. I think you're looking for a very specific classification.
No, I'm not.
Because of a personal thing.
No,
and that's not. I'm not
wondering-
here to
well, I'll put it
do
as,
that.
like, Madonna-
I also don't represent the people that you had these arguments with.
Well, who knows? But Madonna, he does not work at Dunkin' Donuts. No, like Madonna, like people are like, oh, it's getting like I don't know if you guys know about this. Last year, she had a 3D scan done of her
Yeah,
whole body,
yeah.
and she put it up online, and it's like porn. Like you can like go close to her vagina and stuff like that. It's very weird. And people are like, Madonna is for sure desperately clinging to youth and trying to be the same person she was in 1986.
But
And now
I
it's
don't think that's a
2023.
Peter Pan syndrome.
This is what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a different. thing.
That seems a lot more desperately clinging to youth, though, to me than.
But I don't think Peter Pan syndrome necessarily means desperately clinging to youth.
Right.
I think this is a great conversation for you to have with your therapist.
No, I want to know what it actually is, though. What do you think it is?
I think you should Google it after the episode. It is not my responsibility to describe to you a thing that you have been like
You said
accused of or
you
whatever.
said it, though.
In a podcast as a joke, and now we're in a real place.
No,
and
I'm
I don't
trying
like
I
it.
want to actually know. I want to actually know.
Yeah.
Like I'm wondering what does it mean? If the Madonna thing doesn't, do you think the Madonna thing applies or no?
No.
Then what does?
To me, Peter Pan syndrome, again, having never looked it up, I've heard the term, but
Yeah.
Right.
the idea of embracing fun.
Oh,
Yeah, not
really?
avoiding
Avoiding
responsibility
responsibilities,
and
Avoiding responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is more than like it's more. So it's not really the youth thing.
Right. No, not specifically.
Right.
I guess youth in the sense of I don't have responsibility.
I don't have responsibilities.
Yeah.
And
it-
not necessarily like chronological youth.
You know what? It makes me think of a lyric as well. Let me throw a lyric out there.
Please.
Is it from Hook?
No, it's from the band Wet Leg. And there's a lyric here. You're smiling like it's a joke. It's not a joke.
No, I'm not.
The lyric is, "You say we're all having fun. Don't you know you're the only one?" And I think Peter Pan syndrome can kind of have that ability of somebody being like, "I'm just having a good time. I'm having fun. Everything's fine." It's like, no, but there's the mess behind it. You know what I mean?
Really?
And people have to then deal with that mess. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Like
Yeah.
what? Like I don't know what that means though.
I just mean in general, like the idea of like embracing, avoiding responsibility or
To the detriment of
avoiding
something? Yes.
consequences.
To the
And-
to the detriment.
Yeah, and people thinking like, or having consequences because of your actions or things you say or do, and then looking at it going, well, why? Why would that? That's not me. I'm just having a good time. I'm being a fun guy,
That's
Stuff
really
like that.
interesting. I would never take that lyric to mean that.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that interesting?
What do you mean?
I
I
mean,
don't
I
know
would-
what the fuck you're talking about now.
The lyric you just said,
Yeah.
I wouldn't think of it that way. I just had this conversation with someone else too about a different lyric too, about like what does this mean? And it's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
about someone that's dead, and I'm like, oh,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
just thought that's interesting.
There's something going on because this started as a goof.
No, what do you mean?
And now we're in a
I just thought the
real
lyric,
serious.
If you heard
place.
the lyric, you say we're having fun, but what is it?
You say we're all having fun. Don't you know you're the only one?
I would think it's about someone that doesn't fit into something. What would you think of it as if you just heard that without any of the?
I mean, yeah, but it's
I take that lyric as like somebody kind of being a dick, and
Yes.
then being like, "Oh, hey, we're just having fun."
That's
it's like, no,
interesting.
you're the only one having fun. Like that's how I take
Interesting.
that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to call Wet Leg?
I would love that. I would love that.
I saw it as more of a no one sleeps while I'm awake kind of fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I think they're kind of in the same wheelhouse, right?
That's interesting.
Well, we learned some things here today.
That's
really.
very
we learned
interesting.
that I'm not coping well with aging. We've learned
You're not
that
doing so bad.
no, I'm okay. I'm okay relative to a lot of
I mean,
things.
you're not-
I'm
Ray-
not going out buying a convertible and cheating on my wife.
that. I was just
Oh, I'm sorry.
You selling your son for a convertible.
Oh my god! You think I'd have to sell my son to get a convertible?
Well, it's a really nice convertible.
My brand new
Yes.
Subaru Crosstrek
Whoa.
begs to differ. Okay, brand spanking new
I
Subaru Crosstrek.
Leased my son.
Yeah. I check his mileage.
Yep.
And they might have to pay him.
Yep.
It is lease to own, so that's fun.
Yeah, it's
they could eventually get there. But yeah, we learned that time is a moving on,
Yep.
And speaking of time moving on, I think it's time for us.
So
to get going.
no resolutions for you? Any?
What do you mean?
Like I'm gonna do this. Made me think of this.
No, not really. I'm still kind of in this place. I think the number one thing that I was looking for at this time is already happening in terms of like mental health stuff.
Yep.
My obsession with death and the anxiety that comes from it, and recognizing that I had been in a depression, like real depression, like clinical, for a long while, and like climbing out and seeking the right approaches to that, and got a new pill, and that's great.
Nice.
And
My pill's
and
not
it's
working.
working.
My pill's not working.
Oh no, that sucks.
My pill. Me and Ray both got new pills. We compared them.
Mine was a little bigger.
Mine,
but thinner.
I didn't need as much, and it was working pretty good. And then I'm like, my orgasms, they ain't coming.
Oh, it's that kind of situation? Yeah.
No jizzing.
Yeah. There's
Nice long bone. But
Okay.
at the end, there's
Yeah.
what are you doing? Where are we going with this?
yeah.
Which I think led to some issues last year with my spine.
Oh yeah, because you just
Extended.
kept thumping away and nothing was happening. Oh,
And I didn't know I had
like
a bulging.
neutered dog.
I got my MRI on like a Saturday, and then I had like a week of activity, and then I got a call a week later, and they were like, "You have a bulging disc, so you have to be really careful." And I'm like, "Ooh!" I was doing the opposite of careful stuff all week,
Yeah.
and so I had to go back.
No, that's fair.
I know.
But that kind of medication issue, like, there's always like alternatives to switch to.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do something like that. Mine was an accident. Mine was the sleep thing that we gave you isn't working for you.
Right.
Try this. And the side effect of this thing is that it's an anxiety depression thing.
Yep.
So it's like
Yeah.
I started taking that and was like, I said to Kalina, I was like, something's weird. I feel weird this week. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm happy,
Yeah,
right? And it felt great.
Yeah.
So I'm tackling the resolution of that, and I feel good about the place that I'm in and moving towards other things. So it's all positive.
Yeah,
You
good.
know?
I'm glad.
And not living in the negative, I think, is important too, right?
Right.
for sure.
You know, a frog sits in a pot and you slowly turn the heat up and they don't realize that they're dead until they're dead. And I think that can happen with our thoughts. I think
Yeah.
that can happen with our mindsets.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to live in a positive place.
Yeah, good.
You know, you guys can come over sometimes. That's fine. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'm busy.
Okay. Well, I want to say, 40 is here. We're here to,
yeah.
we're
Pretty
hanging out in it.
exclusive club. We're way better at being 40 than Chuck is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You are.
Yeah. Chuck's got his 40 training wheels on.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
he's riding around on
He's
it.
virtually 40.
Yeah.
We should let him in. Honorary member.
I don't even make it honorary.
Yeah, I like that idea.
No, I don't like it.
Yeah, you texting
No.
under the table. But no, I think we came to a place. If you, listener or viewer, are going through a chapter in your age, right? If you're hitting 40, if you're hitting 50, or you're hitting 30, whatever, or if you're going to be a 13-year-old and you're going to be in your teens and you feel weird about that,
don't watch.
Don't watch or listen to this podcast. No matter what Chuck tells you.
Yeah. When he shows up in your room at night.
Yeah. Or he's knocking on a clubhouse door, a treehouse, going, what do you guys think Peter Pan syndrome means? I mean, all these other people claim that I have it, but I just wanted to come to this treehouse to ask.
What do you think, Tyler? Jackson? Zaxby? Khaleesi? What do you think?
Khaleesi is grateful. But yeah, email us. Let us know. It is funbearablepod@gmail.com, and you can tell us how you're feeling about life in general. If it's real bad, send that email to a professional.
Yes.
We are comedy people.
Nope.
We should not be dealing with deep, serious issues. But you can always reach out to us on social media.
Yes.
Funbearable Pod on every social media platform, including the Patriot one. What is that?
Blue.
Red.
Is there a social?
Red
Truth
social.
social.
Truth social.
Truth social.
Yeah.
Truth social.
Yeah.
I knew it was an ooh.
Yeah.
An ooh. We're also on ooh.net. Ooh.net.
Yes.
But Brad, can you please pull up the anchor and let us sail away?
Yes. Thank you all so much for checking in with us.
Come sail away
For Ray
with
Harrington
me, you
and
guys.
Chuck Staten, I'm Brad Rohr. Thank you so much, and we're sorry for being Funbearable.
Oh, I never said lordy lordy.
Oh,
Look who's
no.
40.
Oh. We'll re-record it.
Yeah.
Yeah.